Okay, for this segment of the show, we're going to talk about pre-season training. It's coming up to October in the UK, and we've got two athletes from two different events here, and I'm going to chip in a little bit as well. So, Jonathan, what would you do, and what do you think people should be doing for your event at this time of the season?
Yeah, so I mean, at this point, so training officially starts in October. I think for us right now, it's about building general fitness, so naturally taking a break from things and indulge a little bit, maybe more than I should have, and it's just about getting to a good level of just basic fitness. Now that's different for a triple jumper. It's not about going out for 30-minute runs every day. It's more, okay, let's do some strides, some circuits, getting used to training.
Talking here about your pre-season break, or the pre-season break, and then when you start back to train, let's see what you're doing at the moment.
Yeah, so we have about a 2 or 3 week break after the season's finished, and then we start to get into, like you say, pre-winter training, if you like, just building up that basic general level of fitness and getting your body used to training again, because you don't realise how much 2 weeks actually your body eases down so much, your muscles relax down quite a lot. So in my personal training, I actually teach a fitness class, and I was doing a demonstration of just some squats and lunges within my 2 week break. I literally did about 2 or 3 lunges. The next day I actually had DOMs, so yeah, that's how much your body will actually relax down. So yeah, it's just mainly about easing your body back into training. So we would do some longer runs, like 20-30 minute runs, and they'll actually feel fairly painful as well, when you wouldn't think it would do. So yeah, just basically setting you up for the long winter.
We've got probably 2 approaches to training here. Training planning is called periodization. As a coach, I use a short to short all the time. It's always speed orientated. Now I'm assuming that you're doing a long to short or long to longer. How does your training work?
Yeah, so ours would be sort of definitely long, like you say, with the periodization. So our winter will start off, this side of Christmas. Most of the stuff we're doing is sort of long stuff, building up a sort of base level of fitness. Some sort of speed endurance stuff in there. So, but we don't really go into the lactic threshold at this point. Okay. That's more sort of post Christmas, and building up in towards the season where we start to sharpen it up. So then we're going sort of from long to short, I guess. Would that be with the periodization?
Will you be speeding up as the season approaches and introducing more quality running?
That's it. Yeah, and then
more technical work, I guess.
Technical work, going over the hurdles as well. Working more on sharpening things up, getting ourselves running faster. Because I'm only training to run fast for 50 seconds, or sub 50 seconds hopefully, maybe sub 49 seconds.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely everything just starts to shorten, really focusing in on the specific.
That's a good point about the specifics of training. I mean, the key to me is never lose sight of what you're training for. Now, for 400 hurdles, you've got to put in the mileage or the meterage and the reps, etc. You've had a number of coaches with your time in America. Has the approach to training differed between pre-season in particular to what I do with you and what the US guys do?
I mean, I think for me personally, it's difficult because in the US I was part of the 4x1 and the 4x4 team, so I had to do a lot of sprint training. But here it's a little bit more specific, so we tend to do a lot more technical work, so a lot of focus on drills. But the triple jump, it's a technical event. I mean, the approach is only 40 meters long. We're not running the 400, so there's almost, not that there's no need to be running 8x250, but you have to go back to the why. If you're running 8x250 as a triple jump, okay, why are you doing that? How is it going to help you in terms of the triple jump? So certainly I think it's become a lot more specific. I rarely have run on the bend, which has been almost quite nice because I don't know, the workouts aren't hard, but it's a different level of fitness or a different type of fitness. So yeah, it's a bit more specific in terms of doing more drills. I think the winter for a triple jumper is time to correct bad habits, certainly, and I mean, you look at the weight room stuff as well. Yeah, it's a time to get stronger, but it's a bit more specific to the event.
Let's hold on to the weights in a minute. The technical aspects of all our events here is crucial, and I think as a coach sometimes athletes lose sight of the technical side. Like we spent a lot of time working on your hop, didn't we, to do that?
Yeah.
And I think that the beginning of the year is a time when people think, I've got to get strong. Well, in a way you can have strength, but if you can't do the event properly technically, you're going to fall short. I mean, what do you think about that? Well, I mean, obviously you're going to agree with me.
Yeah.
Or you might not.
Yeah. No, strength, I mean, with the triple jump, it's reactive strength. And it's power. There are so many theories about doing squats and should a triple jumper be doing the deep squat or not. And I think in some sense it's specific to the athlete, but in a general sense it's specific to the event. If you're doing 8 by 3 by 8 deep squat, why? Why are you doing that? How is it going to help you in terms of the event? So for us, I think it's been a bit more power-based exercises.
It's trying to get the exercise to match the movement pattern required of the event rather than doing the exercise in isolation. Now with 4 hurdles, you do have a power requirement, you have a big power requirement, but because you're training anaerobically, aerobically and short-term anaerobic, if you are doing your weights, you're going to have more of a mismatch than say Jonathan is, because everything is short-term anaerobic, or predominantly so. But do you spend time, what type of strength work can you do, and do you think it's effective?
Yeah, so like you're saying, with the sport-specific movements, that's definitely something that I think is a key part of your training, and it's something that's especially going to help in terms of injury prevention as well. So like you say, with a deep squat, is there ever going to be a position where a triple jumper is going to be in a deep squat during their event? Probably not, but I feel like you need to have that base level of power and base level of strength, which is something that we try to implement within our training. So we would do our cleans or power cleans on our squats, which I think are setting us up with a base level of power before we then try and add the sport specific movements in on top of that. So we'll do some step ups, or we had this exercise that we actually did with a medicine ball where we sort of rolled it off our knee, and it sort of was practicing like the attacking the lead leg of the hurdle. So it was a sport specific movement, just with an added weight in. So it was a good way to train
your muscles,
more specifically towards that event. And that's something that I will look to try and implement in my personal training outside of that. Sport specific movements, like saying, are key, I think, for people's training.
Yeah. What about the type of loading that you might do, and say on your weights, on your cleans? I might know the answer to this, but let's say that a lot of people might think, right, he's got to run 49 seconds, needs a lot of reps of power cleans. A bit like rowers do. They do a lot of high rep training. Are you high rep or are you low rep in your training? So
we tend to start off throughout the winter doing more high rep stuff. So like with the volume on the track is always quite high volume, and then as we get closer to the season, again we start to sharpen that down. So then we get to more sort of lower repetitions into the summer. So that's really working on the power aspect.
Speed of movement, yeah.
So
that's fair enough. I mean, we've got a slightly different approach, haven't we, in a way? I mean, you were working with performance ground, and admittedly through the latter part of the season, but it's all more about creating rapid force development very quickly. So we're doing low reps almost from the word go. That's my philosophy anyway. That's what I try to put across. I mean, is that something new to you, or is that something?
I mean, in some sense, yes. The latter part of my college career in America, the weights were quite heavy, and it's very different to what I'm doing right now. I think right now is a bit more specific, and I had a pretty good season, so I like to think it did work out. But certainly from the word go, we're definitely working on power-based stuff. With the triple jump, I mean, it's about trying to produce the maximum force in the shortest amount of time. So in some sense, I mean, you look at an exercise like pause squats. That might be useful for a sprinter because you look at the position in the blocks. You pause, then you deload.
Concentric type of squat. Hold.
Exactly. But the triple jump, you're never in a position like that. It's quite quick, and you look at some jumpers and they are more strength based, spend a lot of time on the ground. But I think John's philosophy of training is make sure as quick as possible on the ground. So,
but having said that, and just to qualify that, you still need to train all the muscular movements, concentric, isometric, and your reactivity, your eccentric as well. So we will do, just to make it clear, we don't do high power exercises all the time. We will do isometrics, for example, because in a movement there is an isometric portion, albeit for milliseconds. So it may, from the research I know, it may have some research, or looked at rather with the research, it may have a benefit to do some isometric stuff. But I'm guessing, well, I don't want to put words into your mouth. Do you perhaps see weights as not quite as central? I mean, if I was coaching 400 hurdles, you would tend to think it perhaps wasn't so important because in a way you're training your muscles differently. You're going to reduce some of their power output from all the aerobic, particularly this time of the year work you're doing. Do you think you could perform as well as you are without doing weights?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think weights is like the be all and end all. We don't do loads of weights. We only do one day a week, really. Okay. But we try and get those weight sessions to be quite high quality to get the most out of them. But yeah, I mean, I don't think. I think I'm not sure how much I could improve if I stop weights completely. I think I like to have some in there just so I'm still getting that power aspect of it, but I don't think it's as vital as some coaches may think. Yeah, something we've thought about a lot this year with Marina. She's sort of tried to lower down the amount of weights we are doing. So yeah, that's something we've done and something that's obviously helped me a lot this year from an injury prevention standpoint as well, because you're not loading with heavy weight, putting stress through your muscles.
Stress,
yeah.
Speaking of stress through muscles, triple jump, 4 hurdles, different type of stress. Plyometrics, do you do plyometrics?
Yeah, we do. We probably don't do quite as much as you guys with the triple jump. Obviously, it's quite important with you. But yeah, I guess with the hurdling as well, obviously you're putting a lot of force through, a lot of body weight is going through obviously your leg and the standing leg.
Absorbing it when you're coming off the hurdle.
That's it, yeah. So something that we've tried to implement. We do maybe a couple of sessions a week. We'll add some plyo sort of exercises in more in the winter, so we build up that sort of strength going through the legs, which then hopefully is going to benefit us from an injury prevention perspective in the summer. So
yes, I mean, from our training with plyometrics, week 2 really, in week 1, because we've done this is another thing. If you've got limited time to train, regardless of your circumstances, you're full time at the moment, but a lot of athletes in our group don't have a lot of time, so we just try and do the things that are going to give the best return, which changes over time. But that's another point. Your training's obviously evolved over the years, so do you think you can cut back on certain things, or do you think you need to pick up on certain things?
Our training definitely has evolved throughout the years. I've been with Marina for about maybe 8 or 9 years now. And yeah, it seems to be that she's quite open to adding things in, but maybe not so open about cutting things back. So our training sessions, across those 8 or 9 years have gradually got longer and longer and longer. She does take some stuff out, but a lot of stuff is added in year on year, which is good because everything is for a reason.
It is difficult when you've got a lot of things that you want to include. I mean, because I write articles, I think it was Dan Paff who said that you take out of the training, it's not what you include in the training, it's what you don't include in your training.
Okay.
So when you plan your training, you look at all the things that you might want to do, and you take out the ones that you don't really, you probably think, well, why am I doing that? Sometimes there can be a circumstance where you're just doing it because you've done it. So that's what I try and think every year. I kind of think, well, why are we doing it? Is it really going to help? So it does strip things down, but it's slightly different because you do need the volume. We don't need the volume so much. We also need to make sure that we're rested when we're doing our reps. In particular, when we're looking at power. They want sometimes to do the next set of plyometrics before I really want them to do. Whereas I guess with what you're doing, it probably wouldn't. So I might have an argument to say that you really need to do some maximum strength work at the beginning of the season, so you don't have a contraindicated situation where you're doing your anaerobic stuff, so you can build a real base of strength that will then, and power, not strength, that will then benefit you. Whereas when you're doing it through the season, you're probably not going to maximise the returns because you've got the contraindications of the two energy systems being trained at the same time. But I mean, I'm philosophising a bit now, but what I'm trying to say is specifically for you, but I think for Jonathan it's very key to do the high output power stuff. Yourself, you've got your own thoughts on that and ways of doing it, which you have to.
And I think, as you mentioned, rest is something so crucial. And that's something I added in this year. I timed we have a timer between each rep in the weight room to make sure that each lift is quality. Because if you're doing power cleans, it's the clue's in the name, it's power cleans. So you have to be able to maximise your power output. That's something we added in this year, which I think really helped.
So you time that as well to get the consistency.
Yeah, exactly. Because you might think that, okay, I'm ready to go, but you're actually not. And so we might be 2 minutes or 3 minutes between each rep. And it makes the workout a bit longer. But I found that from a quality standpoint, it's gone up.
Otherwise, a session, no matter what you're lifting, if the rate of the lift, speed of the lift decreases, it's becoming a strength endurance session, even if you're lifting a heavy weight. So for people listening, you could split a set of 6 into 3, even though the coach says, right, do 6 reps or whatever, 85% maximum. If you're tiring on the 3rd rep, take a minute, go back, because otherwise you'll slow down the speed of the movement, if that's what you're looking for. So having long reps and being disciplined about the recovery can be very important when it comes to really maximising strength.
All things being well, on the next show we're going to have Janae Deloach, Olympic long jumper, on Skype with us. And maybe if you'd like to be on the show, or you're interested, please get in touch.
Yes, thanks for watching, guys, and give this video a like, subscribe to John's channel.
And thanks for listening, and see you later.